This is exactly how I'm going to be trading cryptocurrency in the bear market that is going to come at some point very soon. Right now, we're in a bull market. Everything's going great. I actually think we're going to have another leg higher, particularly in altcoins. We're in September 2025, so feel free to check me on this a couple months afterwards to see what actually ended up happening, because I don't know what will happen, but I'm still holding some altcoins. This is how I'm going to be trading during the bear market. This is how I traded the last bear market starting from 2022 up until today. And while I was holding a lot of positions for 2 years and continued to add in, this works every single time given the past decade of price data, particularly on Bitcoin, and then even more so, it works even better in altcoins, provided that it's these specific altcoins. So anything in the top 50 on CoinMarketCap of market capitalization, this works pretty well with overall. And what I will say is if you want to be real safe, just use the top 25 capitalized assets. I use most of the tokens here in the top 25. I have I think 2 of them, like Algorand and Solana, which is right past that. Uniswap is right past that. It's at 26. But top 25, top 50 tokens here on CoinMarketCap. This just ensures that you're likely to have something that's likely to recover long term. Otherwise, this doesn't work at all. It will not work if you're using what some people would call a shitcoin, something that has like a 0.000001 cent, like a fraction of a cent price, where they're just pump and dumps and they can lose 95% of their value. Now, I cannot guarantee you anything doing this. All I can guarantee you is that you're probably going to lose money, because most people do in fact lose money because trading is risky, and you should consider the risk before actually trading. This is like literally gambling here if you don't know what you're doing. If you know what you're doing, maybe you can make an argument it's not particularly gambling in the common colloquial sense of the word. However, for me, I've been doing this for almost a decade. I've made millions of dollars trading stocks, Forex, crypto, and this is what I do. It's how I traded the last bear market. This is how I'm trading this bear market. So let's take a random little pair. Let's just use Uniswap, right? It's the one at the top of the list. And all we're going to do is I'm going to show you exactly how I do it. We're going to go to a random bar. So this takes us back to January of 2024. So all I do is I wait for a big dip to the downside. In this case, luckily enough, we've started right here on an amazing portion right here. So as price crashes and makes a big dip, all I do is I buy a position, and then whenever price dips, I just buy more. Again, this only works if it's likely to go up long term, and it's really good because in something like this, you see the dip right here is 26%, but look what happens if it goes back to the top. You don't get a 26% gain. In this case, you get a 36% gain. All I'm saying is that the moves to the upside are bigger percentages than the moves to the downside. So if you have a token that started at $1 per token, then it crashes 50% and goes to 50 cents a token. Well, if that token then moves from 50 cents up to $1 again, you've now made 100% gain. So it crashed 50%, but on the move back up, it doesn't go up 50%, it goes up 100%. That's the beauty behind this, particularly if you're using altcoins. So here's how I do it. Right now I've got about $2 million to trade cryptocurrency with. I'm doing spot trading. I got some of it here in Coinbase. I've got some of it on other exchanges and some of it in like 2 ledgers. In total, since the past year alone, I've made close to $3 million in cryptocurrency alone. That's not even counting Forex. That's not even counting stocks, equities, appreciation. That's just crypto. So right now I have about $2 million allocated to it, to just trading spot. The other bit of it sits in, right now it's USDC, and I'm waiting to get back into Bitcoin because, again, I think that price is going to keep going up, at least for the time being. If I see something else, I'll change my mind. But I'm trading with about $2 million in this. And in this Coinbase account right here, I got almost like 1.6 million. So you can see I'm actually in a couple positions here. We're going to talk about these in a second. They're down slightly. The way that I do it is I buy in $100,000 blocks, right? So I got $2 million capital, and then I allocate $100,000 per position. And then if they go against me, I can add $100,000 more. And if they go against me even more, I can add another $100,000. And I manage them dynamically whenever they finally do have the little pops to the upside. So let's get into it here. So Uniswap. So I'm going to start a position right here at $100,000. I'm just going to signify it with this little arrow here, this little horizontal yellow arrow. And then what are we going to do if it goes against us? So we have to figure out another place we can buy at. In this case, I'm going to buy right here around these lows. So we've got a support zone right there. We've got another support here, and then we've got another support zone here at the very bottom. So somewhere like right in here. So these will be the 3 areas that I structure the trade off of. And then if price pops up to the upside, then I'll just close in profit. So let's go ahead and start playing this forward. If price gets up here to this previous high, then I will sell the position up there. A cool thing about this is that you really don't have to do much. You'll generally be in positions for a month to a couple months, in some cases 6 months to a year. And then in my case, I just kept buying all the dips. And so I was in these positions for 2 years until they finally popped. So we finally get a pop. So I'm going to close right here, and then all I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for another go at it. So we didn't even need to put a recovery trade or anything, right? It just went up. So in this case, that's 30% gain, and I have made $30,000 in the $100,000 position over the course of January 7th to February 18th. So about a month and a half. Made a 30% gain, so $30,000. So what we'll do is we'll just wait for it to dip again. And in this case, it doesn't dip. It ends up shooting up. This is in February of 2024. So what I'm going to do is wait for another dip. It needs to be a nice, big, clean dip. It can't be like 2%, 5%. It needs to be like 10, 15, 20, 30%. So here we go. Now we're getting kind of like nice. So that's a 30% dip. So let's see. I'm going to see if it can come down to here. If it looks like it's going to take off before there, then I'll just enter in that position. But then again, it didn't. Okay, sweet. So I'll buy here at this support level. Now, what are we going to do if it goes against us, right? We got to have a plan. What I will do is if it goes down here to this next support level, I'll buy again there. That'll be 22% away from the initial entry. So when you subtract, like it's a little over 22, let's just say 23%. That'll be 100K, and I'll be 23% down. I'll be down $23,000, and then I'll buy again. So a cool part about this is look at the stats here. Price comes down. This is a 37, 38% move down. But if we go back to the upside, this is a 60% gain, right? So it's about 50% more potential profit to the upside as compared to what you could lose in the downside, provided that you add a position and you're doing it in a structured, systematic way. Allocating 100K to each entry for me is about 5% of the total trading capital. Right? It's about 5% of $2 million to allocate 100K. So for me, it allows me to be able to manage these positions dynamically should they start going against me. So this is here. This is 19th of March. Now we're going into April. So now it goes down. So now I'm going to show you again. We're going to buy right here. And then if price continues going down, I will simply buy again here at this next support level. So right there at that support level, I'm going to take these off for a second here. So if price gets even further, I'll buy. So now currently this is down 35%, so 35,000. And this is down 12%, which is 12,000. So 35 plus 12. So it's about like 45,000 bucks almost. And again, this only works if you're using assets that are likely to go up long term. If you're not doing that, this will not work. It is actually, as a matter of fact, guaranteed to not work because you'll keep on adding to positions that end up going further and further. The token lose 95% of its value, and you have to sell everything at literally pennies on what you paid for it. It does not work if you're not using assets that are in the high market cap on coin market cap, because if you're using those, then that's what makes it work nicely. So this right here, it's popped back up. It's got to the first position. What I'm going to do is I'm going to liquidate that first position there at break even, and then I'm going to close this position here in profit. So let's talk about the stats. So this right here is another 30% gain. So far, and this only took one recovery trade to do, so far has been a 30% gain, right? Because this position right here, the initial entry, this was back in March. This is down in May, so about 2 months, March, April, May. About 2 months, another 30% gain. So far, this has been 60K worth of profit. So this was 30K right here. And then this one, we'll just copy and paste it. This was another 30K profit. So now let's wait and see if we can get another dip. And then what we will do is we will buy the position. Again, we'll start a new position. And then we will be able to get back in. So this to me looks like it might be going up. I'm going to wait for a dip though. No matter how beautiful it looks, what's important is buying at lower prices. So let's see how much this is dipping. From the highs down to here at 24%. Let's see if we can get one more dip. And if it starts taking off to the upside, we might have to figure something else out. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and buy right here. I'm going to use these lows right here as the reference point for buying. Where will I add at if this goes against me? What I'm going to do, I'm going to take this off. I'm going to clean these charts up. I'm going to start a new zone right here, just below these current prices. These lows right here. So the position will be a buy here at the lows, $100,000 worth. And then if it goes against me down here, that'll be a 25% loss, and I'll add another position right there. If it bounces up, I might close there at the previous highs. We're going to see what happens. So it goes down to the next zone. So I'm going to do what I said I'd do, which is to buy here at this support zone. Now price pops back up. Let's see what the percentage gains will be. About 30%. Let's just play it out and see what happens. I'm going to watch price action. This does require patience. If you don't have the patience to hold these trades for weeks and months, then this is not for you. You can go try to actively day trade penny stocks or something. or even worse, day trading shit coins on some sketchy exchange. Okay, so price has a new low. It dips down further. Let's see if we can get here to these previous lows. That didn't occur, so I'm just going to wait. It's always better to wait for a very, very good entry. Otherwise, you really do run the risk of getting caught in trades that, you know, you've got your position stacked too top heavy, and then it just doesn't work out. So this looks like it's a break and retest. It looks like it's going to go to the downside. I'm going to do nothing because you never know where it will go, right? Like, common logic with price action tells you that might make a new low. But then again, you have stuff like this where it stops and then it could come up here, congest sideways, and then continue to the upside. Again, if you're using assets that are likely to go up long term, you don't have to worry too much about technical analysis. You just need to make sure you're buying on dips and only adding on dips. So the holding time for this is June 24th, so the end of June into October. So June, July, August, September, October. This has been a 4-month holding time. So let's see what happens. Let's let it pop up. We need to get here. This position, we should probably wait for it to get to at least break even. So I'm going to wait for that. That way we've got like a good little risk structure. So that does pop up here. We are able to get out of that at break even. So that's perfect. So how much profit is this? From that position up to here is 30%. So we made literally 30K on each one. And this is 30K up here. Okay, sweet. So let's look at the stats so far. So far, we've had 3 positions. One of them was an instant profit. The other 2 just required 1 recovery trade. And this is from January of 2024 all the way to November of 2024, right? So roughly a year. So we've got a $2 million portfolio. And on these, just literally buying and holding with having no more than 200K of capital allocated to each position at any given time. This gives us plenty of positions we can take on other trades at the same time. This has netted a profit of $90,000, and from the actual capital that was exposed, the actual capital that was exposed was 100K there, 200K here, and 200K here. So no more than 200K at any given time. This has generated a 50% profit on that, nearly, right? Because at 200K exposure, max risk per each entry, and really it's not even that, because it's not like it's going to go to zero if it's these top cryptos. This has generated a $90,000 profit, so that's almost 100K profit, and that's on a $2 million portfolio. That's about a 5% gain just on this token right here, right? Just on this asset. That's it. That's pretty crazy. 5% gain on just this asset. So let's say you were trading 6 assets, right? So let's say you made 5% gain on each asset over the course of a yearly period, doing very, very low risk just like this. You do 6 times 5, that's a 30% gain in a year, and you have to do virtually nothing, and that's during a bear market. When it's a bull market, the gains are even more insane. Just like I told you, like before this video, at the end of last year when Trump got elected up until right now, we're coming up on almost a year since Trump got elected. So in 2 months, it'll be a year. Just in the past 10 months, I've made close to $3 million, like just under that. So $3 million as prices have gone up and rocketed like crazy. You don't have to do anything. If you buy anything halfway decent during a bull run, you'll make tons of money. But now you're doing it in a bear market too. Even if you only trade 6 assets and get just a couple positions where you only make 30K on each one, or only 5% per token cumulative over the course of that amount of time, like a year, that's 30% gain in a year. A lot of hedge funds don't even do that, right? And that's a lot of money with very minimal risk, provided that you're trading these assets that are unlikely to go to zero. I still have to say that trading is risky and most people lose money, but this is a system that works over and over and over. So let's go ahead and go to another crypto token here. We're going to do one more little example session here. And again, I'm not making this shit up. Like, this is actually what I've done. I started buying stuff back on Coinbase towards 2022. And this is literally what I've been doing the entire bear market over the past 3 years. And then over the past 1 year during the bull market, I've started to liquidate some of my positions. Then we'll talk about the current positions I'm in. So we're in Chainlink US dollar. We're here back in 2021. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for a big drop. And then when we see a big drop, I will start to get into some positions here. This is a proper bear market because November 2021 is when things started to look like they were going to dip. We had huge pops in 2021. So I'm going to buy here when price gets to these lows down here. So let's see if price can actually get there. Another demonstration of this is, look, that loss there is 55%, but if it recovers to the highs, it's over 100% gain. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So we're going to keep waiting. We can't be chasing anything. We don't want to get caught in some stuff. This only works, okay, sweet. Only works if you buy at the lows. So about a 100K position there. Now, where are we going to buy again if it starts going against us? Let's see. Where are the next kind of sets of lows here? like where here. Cool. So I will buy again if price gets down into there. Let's see what the percentage loss would be on the set of positions. The percentage loss would be 45%. So 45%, that's where I will be buying again. And if not, where will I take profit? It's hard to say. Let's see. That previous high right there looks pretty good, but it's going to be 100% gain. I don't know if that's likely to happen during a bear run, but we need to just kind of see and play it based in the context. I think if we can get halfway there, I think that would be a good place to kind of close. So let's see if that happens. And if not, we take her down with the dip and we buy another one. You have to be patient during all this because so far this has been end of January to the end of April. So January, February, March, April. So this has been 3 months. Be very, very patient because you actually get rewarded by like the less you do in something like this, which is a swing trading DCA approach on long-term assets that trend to the upside. The more patient you are and the less you do, the more profit you make, generally speaking, in my experience. So prices dip down to this next zone. I've bought again. And now what I will do is I'll wait for price to pop up just to this first position. And if we can get back there, I'll close both of the positions there in profit. If we go down even further, I'm going to try to space these out really nicely, right? We don't want to be buying too close together. I want to space it out to account for the volatility, so that way I can capture the volatility. So if this comes down here, all the way down in there to $2, that I'll buy again right there. And if not, if it starts popping up, then I'll just, sell everything up here. Sell the 2 positions up there. So the end of January, now we're in June, right? It's like 5 months. It requires a lot of patience. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to go to the daily chart so we can kind of speed this up a little bit. So you've done nothing all year. Prices keep going sideways. You just keep chilling. There's probably going to be other positions you're taking as well. January of 2023. So we're still going to keep waiting. Nothing to do. It's been an entire year. You did nothing. Like, how's your trading year going? Oh, yeah, I've taken 1 trade on this one asset. We want to wait for a nice dip because when we start getting dips like that, the percentage gains back to the upside. Look at that. That's 300%. So we can add down in there, we can add nice and heavy, and then we'll make a ton of profit. I actually kind of hope it drops. Okay, so it doesn't. So this is October of 2023, right? So a year and a half holding time. Let's look and see what would have happened had you held for a year and a half and just done nothing. So that position right there, when it popped up to here, that made it 80% gain. And this position did nothing, right? It's a break even, right? And there's no swap fees, there's no holding fees, there's no rollover fees, there's no funding fees, right? Because it's not futures. You're just buying and holding the actual token. And again, if you're using I don't have an affiliate thing to sell you on any broker or exchange. I don't partner with any of these brokers. I don't even say which brokers I use oftentimes when I'm trading Forex and stocks, just because I don't want to be affiliated with anything publicly. But Coinbase is regulated. If they take your money, right, you could take it up with Coinbase or the CFTC or something. But this right here, I'm on this VIP2 level for trading fees, and it's a 0.05% maker fee, right? So the commissions are a fraction of everything, and you're not going to be paying anything for holding it because you're just sitting there holding your token. So in this case, this position right here made 80. Let's make sure we're being kind of a little bit more precise here. So this position here made 84%. So what that means is that 84% profit on a 100K position, and the other 100K position was just closed at break even, right? So it's no big deal. So we bought 200K worth of this token here, spaced it out, had to hold for almost a year and a half, but we got an 84% gain just by being patient, right? If you could make an 84% gain with $200,000 trading Forex over the course of a year and a half, you're a better trader than me, because even I can't do that. In this case, you took one position, not even counting all the other crypto positions that you're going to be able to get into during markets like this. The bear markets are such a blessing because when price pops to the upside, the percentage gains are huge. But if you just traded this one asset and did nothing for a year and a half, you made an 84% gain on $200,000. So it's like, no, it's not that. You made $84,000 profit on $200,000 of capital, right? So you almost made it's like a 40% gain or something, a little over 40% gain. That is phenomenal. I can't tell you how amazing that is. Again, most hedge funds don't even get that. So just $84,000 doing pretty much practically nothing. And then you factor in a couple other trades that you could take and boom, the stats are so amazing. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to wait to see if we can get a dip. I'm going to see if we can dip maybe like halfway down into here. So it doesn't do that. It keeps running to the upside. So we still need to wait for a dip. So there we go. Now we've got a nice dip. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to restructure these positions. I'm going to use these lows right here as my reference point for buying. So I'm going to buy here at these lows, and then I'll have a plan to buy down here at these lows if price can get down into those lows again, right? So just around this last area where price had a little bounce from. So let's see what happens. If price pops up to the top, I will close there at the previous high. So like right here at this region where the high is. I hope it goes down against us. I hope it goes all the way down here, because then we can, I mean, the gains from here to here is just so crazy. So the holding time so far has been April up until where it closed up here to December. So let's go ahead and map this out. So here, again, you did almost nothing. You bought in April of 2024, and then you sell here at the end of the year, right? So it's like 8 months. So in 8 months on this one position, only having 100K of risk, you made 70%. That is, I don't even understand if you understand, if I understand, that we understand, that everybody understands how understandable it is to think that an 80% gain over the course of like 8 months is absolutely insane. With only 100K risk. On this one, we didn't even have to add a recovery trade, right? So it wasn't even 200K risk exposed. This is only $100,000 worth of risk, and this position netted 70%. 70%. That's so crazy. So this position first was $84,000 plus $70,000. And now since we're back into February, I think that's where we started this. We started this in January, right? 2022. So now we're here in February. It's 2022 up till February 2025. So over the course of this time horizon, you've made so much percentage gains on your capital. Now, you may not have $2 million to trade with, and that's understandable. But even if you only have $100,000 to trade with, and you're just buying in like $5,000 blocks, right? You're buying like just 5% of the capital. So you're buying like $5,000 blocks, and then it goes down against you. You do another 5,000, and you just keep on adding to it at regular intervals. All that means is that whenever price does finally pop, you make really good percentage gains on your money. And this, again, this is during a bear market. This doesn't even count that if you happen to be holding stuff when the market goes back into a bull market. There's a cycle that happens every few years where there's a bear market and a bull market, and it goes sideways for a while and it pops back and forth. But provided that you're managing things appropriately right here, it allows you to have really nice accumulations of positions. So that way, whenever there's either a nice pop to the upside for some random reason on all these pairs, or when you have another bull market, these tokens run like crazy. You cannot just buy one position and hold it hoping that everything's going to be okay. You have to be able to structure a percentage of your capital into each asset first, and then whenever it starts dropping, that's when you add. You add in aggressively. So with that being said, I mean, this is another nice little gain here. We had $84,000. Yeah, that's right. $84,000 here and about $70,000 here. So this is really good, right? $150,000 of profit over this time horizon on this one pair. So if you're doing this over the course of a couple pairs, even during a bull market, like I could make like around like $1 million maybe off the $2 million in capital I have. Because if I'm only able to grow it, say like 50% over the course of 2 years, that's $3 million, $2 million of capital grown 50%. And I have $3 million or a $1 million profit. And a lot of these, some of them are going to be held like more than a year. So the capital gains tax is even lower here in the United States. Otherwise, if I buy it and sell it in less than a 1 year period, I'll pay capital gains at my tax rate, which is 37.5% federal income tax rate. It's a little bit lower than that if it's long-term capital gains. I think it's like 25% or something like that. But still, even after the tax, like it's crazy, right? I might be keeping like 70% on average of whatever the profits are that I'm making. So it's absolutely amazing and it's absolutely beautiful. And you can do this. You can test this for yourself. Go to TradingView, do exactly what I was showing you here in the replay mode, and then click through these pairs. Again, all of them that are here you want to be real safe, the top 10. You want to be reasonably safe and still have the ability to make good percentages, the top 25, just because they have like nice little pops. The percentage gains are nice. And if you want to get a little bit more degenerate, maybe consider the top 50. But again, you're just going to have to go and test this all for yourself, and you're going to have to figure out what your risk tolerance is in order to do this. So now the last thing we're going to close up on is the positions that I'm in right now. So I'm in SUI right here. I bought $100,000 of each of these positions, and you can see what the current holdings are on them, right? SUI's down about 2K, Chainlink is down about 5K, Uniswap is down like 5K, and then Algorand is down like 6K. So with these right here, I have bought, and I'll show you, let's go to the actual charts here. So we'll go to Uniswap. So I bought Uniswap like right here, right? So I bought after this dip right here. Came a dip off the highs like about a month ago, 20%. You could see I have an alert here for where price was kind of bouncing around here, support resistance. We had a nice support, tried to find support again, broke below resistance a couple times. If we come back here, it might bounce to the upside. We're not even in a bear market. I think this could go like all the way back to all-time highs here where we were at whenever Trump got elected at the end of last year, and that could be like 100% gain. I won't be holding it that long, but if I just get from my entry up here to the previous highs, that's a 23% gain, a little over that. That's a $23,000 profit, right? And that could happen here in the next few weeks. It could happen in the next few months. It could happen in a year, right? You just never know. If price goes down against me down here, that'll be minus 20%. So I'll lose $20,000 on that first initial position that I had in SUI right here. So I'll lose $20,000 on that. So that'll be worth 80K. And then what I'll do is I'll just add another 100K. And then if it just pops up to my original entry, that's a 27% gain. So I'll make $27,000 on that. And that's if I just close right there at break even on the first position. There's times where I won't always do that. If I still think there's good upside, I could add right here. And if it goes to the previous high, I'll make 55% on that, which is $55,000 plus this first entry here. That's another 20. Let's just say $20,000. So I'll make $75,000, a little bit more than that if price goes down to here and then just has a pop back to its recent high, right? And it doesn't even have to go to all-time highs, right? It doesn't even have to go way back here where we're at in 2021. It doesn't even have to go back to where we were recently around these highs right here for 150% gain. It just has to pop a little bit, and then I'll make $75,000, and that's with only $200,000 of risk allocated, right? So that's like almost a 40% gain on that. It's like 35% gain. So that's beautiful. So Link, I bought here Chain Link, and I bought around the same sort of price, right there. And I've bought because we've had a nice little dip. So we had a nice little dip, and then we had a little pop. And so what I thought is that, okay, we might see price start going to the upside. So after price had this dip here, we're in a bull market, and then started bouncing to the upside, I bought. Now, you'll see the next position that I'm going to be looking to be adding right here, I'll show you, is this zone right here, where we have the kind of these little highs and lows all bouncing around as support resistance. If that drops right there, this will be another 16% loss. And then if it starts to pop back up and goes to the previous high that we were at, like during this little bull run that happened when Trump got elected, like a couple weeks after, went all the way back there, that's a 60% gain. If we get to all-time highs, which I think is, it's likely to happen at some point, right? Like it's on something like Chainlink and all the other top market capitalized coins. That's almost a 200% gain. Absolutely wild. So that's why it's very important to use tokens that are likely to go up long term. So that's where I'm at on Chainlink. So if Chainlink pops up from my entry to the previous high right there, I'll make 23% gain. So about $23,000 profit. Algorand's another one. Algorand has amazing percentage pops like all the time. I've been trading Algorand since like 2022, since we were like down here and all of these like super, super low prices and accumulating them. Then we have these huge rips up where I'd sell at over 100% gain. We'd have more dips than I'd buy, and then I'd hold it and go into more loss, and then I'd buy a little bit more. And then we had this huge run up right here during the election. So when Trump got elected, I sold most of this stuff at like 45 cents, so about right in there. And it ended up going further past it. So I didn't get a perfect entry and exit, but I sold a lot of it at 45 cents. And then as it kept going down, I sold a little bit more around 40 cents, and I got out completely. Then we got back in down here. It went down against me. I bought more, but then when it finally popped again, very recently in July, I sold everything there. I transferred it into Solana, and I sold some Bitcoin too and transferred it into Solana. So from there, that was another 30% gain. And then now we're down here where I have since bought Algorand. So I bought Algorand up here. It went down. So we're down 6%. And you can see again, like this, about $100,000 of it. And it's now to like 93,900. So about 94,000. So it's about $6,000 it's down. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold on to it. And if it pops, if it goes from here around to the previous highs, that's 21%. That'll be a nice little easy gain. And that happened like just back in July, right? If it goes to all-time highs, that's not even the all-time high, right? That's one of the little recent tiny highs right there where it spikes up. That's over 160%. On 100K, the position will be worth like $260,000 or a $160,000 profit. Phenomenal, insane, and just an unbelievable return given the amount of money you can put into this. If it goes against me down here, I will lose. So technically I bought up here. So I will lose $35,000. And then if I lose that $35,000 and then I just, buy again down there and then it pops up. So it could pop from here all the way back up to this zone. That's a 50% gain. So I'll make 50K and then I can close the, first position there, maybe around break even. It might be a tiny loss. Maybe I might lose a couple $1,000. But if it goes all the way down here and then it bounces at these lows, that's a $50,000 gain. The beauty of this is that you barely have to do anything. All you have to do is you have to just set alerts, wait for price to have a big dip, buy, And then whenever price starts to pop, cool, you take profit wherever you want. Usually a previous high works perfectly fine. If you think you're in a bull market, then maybe a new high would be perfectly fine as well, because it really magnifies the percentage gains. Even if you're in a bear market, though, this still works. That's why it's so phenomenal. And it's so crazy that it's just like so simple. Like, I wonder why more people don't do it. I don't know. You have to do it with a small portion of your capital allocated to this, right? I don't recommend just, you have $10,000 to trade with, and you buy $10,000 worth of one token and just pray it goes up from your price. No, you have to kind of split it up a little bit. If you're going to be trading with $10,000, maybe like buy $500 worth of it. If it dips, buy another $500. If it dips, buy another $500. The thing is that's so boring, and they're doing such small position allocation that most people just don't have the patience to do it. So they'll just buy 10K worth of it. It goes down. They get scared. They sell it. It ends up popping back up. They're like, damn. Now, instead of having lost like 50% of the money I put into it, so they lost like $5,000 on their 10K balance, they could have made maybe $1,000 or maybe even $2,000 profit, right? Like at 5, 10, 15, 20% gain. So they'd still have their original capital, and they would have made a little bit of money, and they barely had to do anything. The time's going to pass one way or the other. Like right now, if you continue to stay alive, you will be alive a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years from now. Again, unless you die from something. Like, if you're going to be alive and the time's going to pass anyway, all you have to do is just wait. You just do this, and then you just wait. This is the way I will be trading it going forward. I'm sharing all my trades for free in my free Telegram channel. I'll put a link in the description below and in the pinned comment, so you can just join it. It's just free. I've run it for like 7 years. I just share all my trades and analysis for like crypto, forex, stocks, equities, futures, things like that. So you can click the link below. You can join my free Telegram channel so you can check it all out. With that being said, good luck in the next bear run whenever that happens in crypto. And for all of you still in a lot of these tokens here for the next bull run, let's hope and pray that we get another little pop to the upside. And if not, we'll have to do some position management, but it is what it is. That's the nature of the market, super volatile. I'll see you in the next video, my friends. I hope this was useful. See ya. I've got to find the little stop button to stop this recording whenever I do this. I'm going to really figure out my life.